Behind me, we got Marcus Honsaker, somebody from my city. This is another addition to my true crime and Ohio stories. I'm going to go into what they're accusing him of doing, both on the streets and in prison. A little bit of backstory is that I've known him for years. Me and him have the same friend circle. We've both lived in the same cities, Warren and Newton Falls, off and on. I used to half-ass date his sister, kinda, for a couple months. We were like each other's first for a couple things, when we were young. I'm not even sure if he knows that, and he's a little bit older than us. I'm 35. I think he's a couple years older. It's about to tell us here in a minute. But she was a real cool girl. R.I.P. to her. She ended up passing away. All respect. We was just kids, and we dated for a few months and experimented with things and whatnot. Uh, so, he was a little older than us. We used to kick it around him. He would buy us stuff and have connections to things that we didn't. It was pretty cool. Another little spin-off backstory. I just made a video a couple days ago about how my charges and different things on the news about me. Well, remember I mentioned there was a 2009 case of a group fight that a bunch of us, they said we was involved. Some shots were fired. They found 16 shell casings. Uh, Houses and cars got hit. There was a guy on the news saying his oxygen tank got hit, but they could never find the thing, the pew pew. So even though they had thought that we had this group fight and had like a shooting, they don't know. They couldn't prove it, okay? And my point I'm getting at is, even though they had everyone involved, they never did nothing. They never could do nothing because they could never prove nothing. They just questioned everybody. So because they were questioning everybody, right? He lived within like a 2 block radius of this, and nobody knows how, who, or why. But a couple days later, uh, he was standing outside in his front yard and he got popped in the leg. And people even called me that same day and said, what happened? Is there, what's the story behind it? Was it you? Was it your friends? I said, absolutely not. They said because he had nothing to do with that fight, and why is he getting randomly hit not even 48 hours later in his front yard? But it's only 1 or 2 streets over from where that happened. So in people's mind, they're thinking it was some kind of retaliation. Well, we all said no, but then the police tried to say that he did it to himself. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm alleging that they said that he did this to himself because there was like a ring around his leg. I don't know. I just thought somebody rode by and popped him. I really don't know. But that's like a little spin-off, story, because they were accusing and alleging that he was trying to get out of going to jail for some other charges. But that don't make sense, so I don't know. But it was with the exact same caliber. It was with the 9 millimeter. We remember, like I said, when this was taking place, Warren man has been sentenced to life in prison without parole for stabbing his 71-year-old great uncle. 27-year-old Marcus Honsaker could have faced the death penalty for the stabbing of Donald Giovanni last summer. Last November. I got this bright light in my eyes. A friend discovered Giovanni's body at his Atlantic Street Northwest home November 20th, just days before his trial was set to begin in Trumbull County Court. Honsaker pleaded guilty to aggravated murder, burglary, tampering with evidence, and 2 counts of aggravated robbery. So people were just saying he was partying and whatever with his uncle, or at least at his uncle's, and something happened. They had a disagreement. This ended up happening. There was people claiming he did it because he wanted to like take stuff from his house. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what went on. I don't even know if he did this. I'm just saying, in the court's eyes, this is what they're saying, that he robbed and unalived his uncle. So now, once he was in the joint, though, they're saying he did this. Cellmate who was strangled was serving a sentence for grape. Prison inmate serving life without parole for murdering his elderly great uncle, and Warren is now accused of fatally strangling cellmate Marcus Honsaker, indicted by Warren County jury, involuntary manslaughter and tampering with evidence. The next one said that he tried to flush the sheet down the toilet and they found it in the plumbing. But more or less, okay, Lebanon Correctional, I've talked about it a lot. Warren Correctional is right across the street, like literally. If you act up at Warren, you go right across the yard to Leb because it's the disciplinary. But it's also a really bad level 3. It's up there. I wouldn't say it's like the worst, but it's in between with the how much stuff goes on there. So yeah, more or less they're saying that he did this to his bunkie, and I don't know, but I was mad to find out that they said he did this and that he was never coming home. Obviously, nobody should unalive nobody. I ain't justifying it. I don't know if he did it, but they found enough reason to think he did. I just meant that I was so close with his sister back in the day. My mom and dad was cool with his mom and dad, or at least with his dad, the Marcus Honsaker Sr. My mom and dad both know him, and I think they even said they went to Turner and Warren, maybe Warren Western Reserve also. They just went to different schools together. So if you guys know him or anything about what I just said, put facts in the comments. Let me know, what's your outlook on this. Sometimes people just crash out when they go away and they don't care because they see that they ain't never going home. You piss them off on the wrong day, shit like this happens. Maybe he did it when he found out what he did. I don't know. I couldn't get much information. I could probably Google just his story, the separate dude's story. Hold on, let me see what I can find. So I found a video, and it'll show the guy, but I could not find nothing about his case from 2005. His name's Anthony Perk, P-U-R-K, from St. Paris, Ohio. If you can find something, let me know. I looked it up. Everything is just about him being unalive. I don't know if it's because it's too far back. Like I just said, I can't find nothing from the 2009 thing. So I don't know. I think they're changing online things. The further it goes, it's like they make room for new stuff. I don't know. But I'm going to show y'all this clip.
Now know the names of an inmate who was killed at the Warren Correctional Institution.
The Ohio State Highway Patrol is now handling that investigation.
Jessica Schmidt at the alert desk with the information from troopers. Jessica?
Yeah, troopers say they are now investigating the death of Anthony Perk. He had been in prison since 2005. A report from OSP shows another inmate killed Perk through asphyxiation May 11th. This case is being called a homicide. Troopers aren't detailing exactly what happened yet, but we are told that Perk was taken to Atrium Medical Center where he died. ODRC records show Perk was serving a sentence of 10 to life for a rape charge. His next chance at parole would have been in March 2023. Reports show the suspect, again another inmate, is now facing a charge of aggravated murder. Troopers have not identified that other inmate, but once they do, we'll bring you that update.